was really fun.
Yeah.
Did you go?
I did not. Yeah, because they pull you all different directions. I wanted to, so and I heard they're going to be doing something today, Friday, tomorrow. So hopefully I
Okay.
can make some time.
Oh man, I'm jealous. I wish I could stay.
Oh,
I have to go back to LA and write some Star Trek music.
oh,
So
okay.
it's exciting, but also like I wish I could stay. Um, you know.
You need that Star Trek music. So
I
sorry,
know, I
you
know,
gotta
I
go.
know, I know. But it's silly because my showrunners are here. They're doing a panel on Saturday,
Right.
and I'm like, they're not
Hello.
gonna listen to what I send them on Friday. Like that's not a thing. They're gonna be drunk. So yeah, but I still have responsibility.
Yeah.
With great
Yeah.
power
Absolutely. Oh.
comes great
There
responsibility.
you go.
Physical, yeah. So yeah. So what do you want to talk about?
So I guess my biggest thing is, and I feel like this is just pure ignorance, but I don't know if I've ever really acknowledged when a film is scored that there may be multiple composers working together.
Well, sometimes.
I don't, yeah, and it's weird because no project comes to mind, and then I seen this, and I was just like, interesting. How do you balance such a very important title for the fans? Because we need our superhero movies, but how do you handle such an important title, such as Thor: Love and Thunder, and then working alongside of Michael, and then just it's a lot, and there's already a lot to deal with within the film. You have Thor and his emotions, his journey, the MCU, certain aspects of the MCU music that you want to add in there, and then this film is kind of bouncing around a couple of different genres here,
Oh
especially
yeah,
that
it
first
is.
game.
It's like a comedy in space, but also like you have like Western vibes there.
Right, right. So
A
this
lot of action,
madness,
fantasy. Yeah.
right, exactly. So this madness of a score that was created. How did you all
Oh
get in the
man,
lab
yeah,
and cook this up?
that's crazy. Yeah. So I did not anticipate any of this, and it kind of calls back to like with great power comes because I'm like I freaked out. I'm a huge Marvel fan too, and so like that was a big deal for me. Yeah, so it all happened very quickly, and I'm very grateful that I didn't know all of this in advance because I would freak out. Um, yeah, and well, I've been working with Michael for like 4 years now, so this is not our first project and probably not our last. So yeah, so he just texted me because he was working on another. He's directing it for Marvel. You guys know that, right?
What?
I'm not
What?
breaking any news. No, this is news that's been out in the wild. So yeah, Michael was directing as in a director. Um,
I feel like you hinted at that at the
it's been
light
announced.
year. I swear I did not hit it.
It's
Wow.
been announced. It has been announced. I'm not
Okay.
breaking any rules here.
No, no, no.
I have
Okay, I love it.
so yeah, so he was shooting in Atlanta, and this is like Marvel's like a Halloween special. And so he technically wasn't, you know. And so he asked me to help on some cues, and then that kind of evolved into like working on the film. So yeah, how we cook it, I don't know. I mean, he basically did the concept. So when I came in, it was already kind of like, okay, this is what we're doing.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I just have to like really learn very quickly what we're doing because there was like literally no time. Um, and so yeah, I was listening to things that he did and looking at some scores and kind of being. It was interesting to see some of the choices. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take the torch and continue. And so the collaboration was like very. I mean, it's kind of seamless at this point because we're just I understand his visions and stuff. I understand his perspective, and he trusts me, which is a big deal of that. Like, because I'm like I freak out. I'm like, how am I supposed to like? But the fact that he trusts me is a big push forward because I'm like, he thinks I'm gonna make the right choices here, so I can do it. And so it really helps when someone else, like, someone as big believes in you. So yeah, and I'm really enjoying any collaborations that we do. And I keep learning a lot. Yeah, I don't know. Does that answer the question? I'm
It
not
does.
sure. I'm not
I
sure.
love your confidence.
I have a lot of confidence. Yes,
Love
for
it.
sure, for
Love
sure.
it.
It's there, but it also, when you're when you're faced with this kind of a challenge and you don't have a lot of time, like usually there's more time, but because I joined it a bit late, then there was no time. um, and some of the scenes had to be ready for from today to tomorrow, and we're talking about like things that are not just under dialogue, little
Right, right, right.
1 minute cue, but a 5 minute sequence where there's like a lot of things going on. Like there's Jane dealing with her, remembering her mom, and then hitting the sink, and then like Valkyrie knocks on the door, and then they're like packing to go, and there's like, oh, a joke, a
Yeah,
joke,
yeah.
wait for the joke, and then do an action thing, and then they're flying off to like to omnipotency. So all that stuff, like and you really got to catch everything. So yeah, it's a lot.
So you mentioned pressure.
It's what?
You mentioned pressure. Star Trek. I mean, that's probably one of the most or the fandom more analytic and precise, and how do you take this challenge? I mean, it's a whole new show and stuff, but but still got that name.
Well, yeah,
Still a
Trekkies.
Star Trek, so
Trekkies are hard to please, but it helps that I'm a Trekkie, and so
continue.
yes, I'm a big hardcore Trekkie. If any, it's my biggest fandom. So I know the anatomy of music for Trek that have been written over the years. I know all the scores, like the original series, all the other shows, so TNG, Voyager, like whatever, and sometimes like we'll have a meeting. Like yesterday, we had a spotting session for Stranger Things season 2, one of the episodes, and I'm like, they're doing a callback to Voyager here, and I'm like, I see what you're doing there. This is from, I will not say what, but it was from season 3 of Voyager, and I'm like, gotcha. And then the showrunner was like, like but so it really helps when you know all the like the previous materials, the tones, the like um, both like the story and music. So yeah, a lot of times I'll catch myself being like, okay, now I mean this is too far off. You want to do something that's closer to track, like, but how do you renew that? Like, how do you make that still like a modern thing? Like we're not shooting the original series, we're doing something else. So how do you do that? So yeah, it's a lot of trial and error. There's like a lot of like, hey, what if I change the intervals here? Like I'm trying to like even take the original fanfare and be like, okay, what variations can I do with that? Like, how can I play around with it, create something that feels new, but also have a little bit of a callback to to honor the original music. So
Michael has done Star Trek.
yeah, Michael has done that too. So I mean, I kind of follow Michael's stuff. Really. He's following me really. But yeah. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Michael scores. Yeah, it's like one of my dreams is to work with him on a Star Trek score. I hope that will happen. I hope so.
Let's open a Kickstarter and make a new Star Wars.
Oh man.
I'm a Star Trek. Well,
Yeah, I mean, Star Wars also sign me up, but I think that would take a moment before I'm hired on that. Especially that I work for the competition.
How does it work when you come into like Thor: Love and Thunder, and you now have to use more than one of the characters? So you're not just working with Thor; you're also working with the Guardians. How does that affect the work?
Oh, the Guardians, that was a really fun scene actually. Yeah, I was hoping there'll be more in the movie actually, but yeah, well, basically the lead for the entire music is the perspective of Thor, right? We're following Thor's story, Thor's perspective. So even when he's spending time with them and there's this fight, there are some elements that are more like, I guess driven by their character. Like you do have like the strings are more like da, 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 da. Like there's this excitement that you often feel when you watch the Guardians movies. So yeah, that was definitely a choice, an aware choice, let's say. And you have comments like musical comments on their dialogue during that fight, and then later with Star Lord, like all this conversation, like it's still though with Thor's perspective in mind all the time, like so it was actually using the love theme from Thor movie, not the Star Wars. So, but I love him. I wish he was more in the movie. Yeah, it's really fun to do it. I was like, sometimes I watch my screen. I'm like, I can't believe this is what I'm seeing right now. Like these amazing, you know, Chris Pratt is one of my favorites. Like, and Chris, I mean,
The Chris's.
the Chris's. Yes, I love the Chris's. Yeah.
Okay, whenever you're ready, it's time to
Okay, switch. Sorry.